Hello everyone, continuing on the series of the Azure versus AWS versus OCI comparison. Today we'll cover the big data analytics and artificial intelligence machine learning service comparison. So without further ado, let's get into it. But as usual, please like, subscribe, share our channel. The comparison is for big data analytics, and we'll start off with batch data processing. What exactly is batch data? It involves collecting and processing large volumes of data in predefined groups or batches at scheduled intervals rather than in real time. What are our options? What are the different services in each cloud? AWS, you have batch, as well as EMR or Elastic MapReduce, which is nothing but a Hadoop managed service. In Azure, also you have a batch option in here, and of course you could have Azure on a VM setup. In Nordic Cloud Infrastructure, you have OCI data flow and OCI big data service. So let's get to the console and see how each one works. So I'm here in the console, and you can just search for batch, and you will be taken to the batch service, wherein what we could do is we'll need to first set up the compute environment, and this is where you will be. You will have to click the create compute environment in the batch service, and this is where you could have the different options. You could choose Fargate, EC2, or Kubernetes for the batch processing. And you could give it a name and year, and I'll just give it a test. And you could have this name here. You could try the vCPUs, the number of vCPUs needed. I'll just choose 2 I need for now, and do next. And you tried the VPC ID. I could just give this ID and choose the different subnets that are there. And you choose the security group, hit next, do review, and this will create your infrastructure here as well. So, and once this is created, what you could do is you could create a job queue. And let me show you. I don't want to spin the infrastructure, but I think you get the point. And this is where you could have the job queues created. And this is first you need to create the compute environment, then you can create the job queue. And this is where you could provide the queue and associate it with the compute environment. Set the priorities for the multiple queues. You could have the priorities here. And based on the priorities, you could have the job created and batch processing enabled. So this is the service that could be used, something that we still have to find a use case to really use the service, because we already can do it by default using SQS. But it's an out-of-the-box option that AWS has tried to provide an option to set up here. Now let me show you how EMR can be done as well. So this is where it's a managed Hadoop framework, nothing more than that. It's the setup here. So what you do is you come here, you create a cluster, you choose the version that is there, and you have the application bundle, right? Whether you want Spark, Core, Flame, Couchbase, you have these options here. You choose a different availability, the packages that you want. If any glue setting is there, glue again is a data pipeline integration tool that you could release, the operating system, the cluster configuration, and you could have the EMR setup, the node configuration, the different options that you want to have the infrastructure. This is where you'd write the VPC. You could choose you could browse, and I could choose the VPC available and get this setup done here. So yeah, so this is how you could have the cluster done, the size done for the batch processing if you want to do it in Hadoop. Now let's go and check out in Azure. So here what you could do is you could search for batch, and you search for batch accounts, and what you do is you click create batch account, and this is where now I'll have to, as usual, give a resource group, storage account. Yeah, so there you go. So you can give the resource group, if I have to choose this one, and give the name, and I'll say test YT. And if I hit next advanced, this is where I will be getting these different options over here, which is the pool for compute nodes that I want to do, with the batch subscription, authentication mode, and then I could choose networking. And after that, I will be able to use the batch service for any processing. So this is another design pattern or service of Azure that you could look into. So now let's look into Azure, which is OCI data flow. So this is the Azure. What I'll do is I'll just go for data flow. And if I type data, now what you do is you create an application here. You give the name of the application. I'll just give test YT, and here again, what you see is you get these different options. You choose Spark, whatever version of Spark you want. And you see you also have the Hadoop option here that you could look into. The VM configuration that you want, this is in Oracle, they have shape. You could check the prior video comparison to understand the terminology. The setting that you want, auto-scaling if you require, the streaming, and different options for this setting. So this is where you could have this setup done, and your stack will be created. let's check out the others option, which is the big data. Okay. Then here what you do is you have this big data option, you create a cluster, and this is where again you could provide the cluster name. I do test VT. You provide the password, you provide the admin, and this is option here again. This is the Hadoop setting as well. What you could do, the virtual machine bare metal, and provide this option. And again, you should see the comparison in the priorities to understand more. You give this option, and you will have the data big data service as well for Oracle that provides the option. So this is where you have these different batch service options for the different cloud providers. So I just wanted to show you a quick demo, nothing deep dive in this, because I just wanted to keep it high level to focus only on the comparison. With this, let's go to the next comparison point. So the next comparison point is of streaming data ingest. Streaming data ingest essentially refers to the real-time processing of and collecting of and processing continuous data streams from various sources for immediate analysis and action. So what are the options? In AWS you have Kinesis, in Azure you have streaming analytics, and in OCI you have OCI streaming. So let's go and check out how each one looks like. So here at AWS, what I could do is I could just type Kinesis, and you see a bunch of options. Let's go with the first one. So here you could do a create data stream, you could give a name, and this is where you will see you will get the option of on-demand or provisioned, and this is where you will, if I say on-demand, I just choose this, and I can do a create data stream. Once I create the data stream, I'd be able to create the number of shards. I'd be able to use the put record API or SDK on ingest data, as well as be able to use a Lambda function or other mechanisms as well to process the data and output results to an S3 bucket. So it's a very powerful service, very popular service. You could expand this, you could have these other options as well to check it out. The Kinesis, I don't want to create the resource, but because so many resources will be cleaning up the beer problem, but I think you get the point. So now let's go to Azure and check out streaming analytics. Type stream, and this is where what I will do is I'll choose the stream analytics jobs, and I don't know, save it. And what I do is I could create, and this is where you have this option here. You choose this name, and I'll choose test YT. And what hosting environment do you want? Right, and this is where you could provide the option and the streaming units, what you want to do. Like, depending on the streaming unit, it will be your capacity to be provisioned. The storage that you need to have, all right, whether if you want to have it in a storage account if or not. And based on this, you could eventually add an event hub and get it configured. But this is the way you could use about streaming in Azure using a streaming analytics jobs out here. Now let's check out OCI. In OCI, what you do is you type streaming, you click this messaging in here, and this is where you create a stream. And this is where you will provide the name again. I'll just give it test YT. And you could create a default stream pool. You could create an e-stream pool. It'll change the options for you. But just for the sake of it, just stick with this one. You could show the advanced options, which is nothing but tagging. And this is a number of partitions that you could go about for the streaming. And like this is where you could have the OCI SDK or CLI to ingest the streaming data, and how you could have the application integration done with the streaming. So I hope this comparison was provided you at least a brief overview of the different streaming options in each cloud. Let's go to the next comparison. So the next one is the data analytics and visualization that involved analyzing data to extract insights and presenting those insights through graphical representations that facilitate information and making informed decisions. So let's check out what is there in each cloud. In AWS, you will have QuickSight. Azure, you have Power BI. And OCI, you have Alex Cloud. Let's go to the portals and check each one out. So in AWS, what you could do is, this is the out-of-the-box option. QuickSight, it's pretty intuitive. So let me just sign it up, because eventually we will be needing it. But this is going to be a different region. But rather than me signing up, but I think you should be able to take it from here, that you sign up for the service. You need to provide your information and how exactly what data points you would be providing for QuickSight to be able to query the add-on. If you need it, you can uncheck it if you don't want to pay the extra pricing, and hit finish. And this is how your QuickSight will be set up. Let's check out Power BI. So in here, what I do is I come here, the Power BI embedded, because this setting is more of a desktop or portal But this is where you would be able to auto reports and build models for free with Power BI desktops. I don't have an account here because I've not subscribed to Power BI, but this is where you will have to kind of have the subscription to Power BI. And once you have it, then you will be able to get this embedding done, right? So that is how you could have the Power BI setting done. So if I tie in Power, you will be able to see these are the different options for Azure. So let's check out Oracle, how you can go about in Oracle. So in Oracle, so type analytics. So type analytics, and then you could have this analytic instances. You could create an instance in analytics. You could give it a name and description, number of or CPUs, number of users or a number of users. It could collaborate, find it for you. Whether you want to use the license, bring your own license, enterprise or professional edition for visualization, and then be able to spin up the instance over here. I don't want to do this for now, but then you have, once the instance is created, you should be able to create the data set and then choose the source like Oracle database or Oracle storage, and eventually go about creating the dashboards. And if you need any help, let us know, and we'll be more than glad to add and deep dive into the setting. So now let's get to the next comparison. Managed Machine Learning Platform. So what is Managed Machine Learning Platform? It provides an integrated environment for developing, training, deploying, and managing machine learning models with automated infrastructure and support services. So how does it look like for you in each cloud? In AWS, you would have heard SageMaker, pretty popular. In Azure, it's machine learning. In OCI, it is data science. So let's check each one out. Oracle, in AWS, go back. So in AWS, you can come here and search for SageMaker, and this is where you can have the SageMaker platform. Right, so you couldn't have this 3 icons. It's a little simpler. You could choose the domain. What domain do you want to do? You could create a domain out here in SageMaker. And how do you want it to be set up? It's manual setup, recommended for organizations. And you could try the name, the role that you want it to be, and how the data needs to be set up as part of this setting. And once you have the domain created, that's when what you could do is you could start spinning up instances, notebook instances, and create a new instance. So you could choose a Jupyter notebook to train a model, or you could, and then you'll be able to deploy the models as part of the setup. So this is how you could go about. I don't have anything. We don't have any need for it now, but this is how you could go about deploying and training your models. Let's check out how will it be in Azure. So in Azure, you come here, and this is where you click on machine learning. And what you will do is you will need to create a workspace for this first. And this is where you do a click new workspace. You provide the details in here. You provide the resource group, anything. I could just choose a new, you give test YT, and give container registry if you want it to be set up accordingly. This is where you provide the networking if I want any of this option, and encryption, and then you could do the view and create. And once this workspace is created, you'll be able to use the designer to import datasets, build a model visually by dragging components, and then train and deploy the model using the machine learning of Azure. With this, now let's check out OCI, which is data science. So here you go, you see this, it's in the machine learning part of OCI. You click here, you click create a project, you give the name, and then this is where you choose. I just say create project, and now this is where you see you have this project created. And now what you could do is you could create a notebook session, and based on the notebook session you will get pre-installed libraries, and you could give the name. I don't want to spin this up, but I think you get the point, right? Once you have the notebook session, you could use the pre-installed libraries to load the data, train the model, and deploy the model using OCI APIs. So that is how you could have it done. So let me move out of here, and let me just delete this as well. Now let's get to the next comparison, which is metadata management, that involves organizing, maintaining, and utilizing data about the data to enhance data governance, discovery, and integration across systems. What are the different services in the cloud? In AWS you have Glue, in Azure you have Data Catalog, and OCI also you have Data Catalog. Let's check out how each one is in the portal. So here in the portal, in AWS, you come in, you type Glue, and you will get this option. Then this is where you will be able to see the pipeline in here what you could do is you could come into the data catalog aspect. You could create a crawler. When you create a crawler, you will be able to see the provided name. I can just give a name here, and description and tags. And this is where you would be providing the data source. And in the data source, when you say, you will be able to choose the different options out here. You see there are a lot of options in the data source. And using this, once the data source is added, you would be able to create the crawler. And using the crawler, you would be able to build your data pipelines. So this is a powerful Blue service to use for your data pipeline aspect. Let's check out how you could do it for the metadata management in Azure. So in Azure, the data catalog, the service is kind of deprecated from May 15th, 2024. And the new one suggests the service to use Microsoft Purview. And that is what this option provides. You do need to have, create a Microsoft Purview account in here. And this is the step that you will be doing to create a Microsoft Purview account. I can choose this here, connectivity methods, and I'll just show how to quickly create Purview account. And it'll take a few minutes to have this Purview account created. And once done, I'll show how you could have the metadata set up using Purview. Okay, so this Purview account deployment is created. What I could do is I could go to the resource, and this is where I choose this Purview, and I can come down, and I can have this different users like documentation as part of the setup. The governance panel uses documentation, and this is where I could have the automation as well done. I could create the different tasks for in Purview. That is there. And like how I could have this setup done for Purview. Okay, so let's now check out the article data catalog service that is there. So for OCI, what we do is we come here, it's a search for data catalog. And once this is there, what you could do is you have these different capabilities out here. I'll leave you to read it out. But you come here, you create a data catalog. This is metadata management. You give it the option, and then you can create it. I'll just give it this test option. And once I have this data catalog option, so you could have this clicked, and you can search. You can tag, you can search the metadata. So a lot of things that you could do. You could have these data assets, you could create the data assets, you could create glossaries that eventually you could use for searching your metadata. So very powerful. You have these data assets, data entities, a lot of options available in Oracle. And even Glue has capabilities, Purview also has a lot of capabilities. So each one is very, very strong in the metadata aspect. So let's get on to the final comparison. So the final one is the query, where you request for information or data from a database or data source, typically specified using a query language to retrieve, modify, or analyze data. So with this, let's now check out the services that are there in each cloud. In AWS, you have Athena. In Azure, you have Monitor with custom query language. And with OCI, you have query service. Let's check out each one in the portal. So in AWS, what you do is you come here. As usual, you come in and just search. It's a very nice and useful service. Some things that we use a lot. You come here, you can do a query editor. You could have done from there. You have to create a data catalog, So something you will need to create. And this is the catalog. Again, you will have to use the catalog as part of it. And once you do, this is the good thing is the database you could create it from the S3 bucket. There are many options available, data source. You could use Glue crawler, you could use a SQL. So a lot of options. S3 bucket, I think, is very popular because with a JSON, a semi-structured data, you can write a SQL-like query over here that you can use for reporting. And we have built a lot of use cases for customers using Athena, how they can, without storing this data in database and duplicating data and paying higher cost, they can simply query the data from S3 itself using a SQL-like format. Or even if you have to export logs from CloudWatch logs from CloudWatch to S3, you could have this querying done instead of OpenSearch. We created a video on how to export logs from CloudWatch to OpenSearch. You can check it out for more information on that setup. So, but now let's get to the Azure Monitor, which is custom query language setup. So in here, portal, you come to Monitor. And in this log section, you can have this, like you can do this, and I don't need this option. And you can use this option to query the data. That you could kind of select the scope. Say if I just select this one, I just hit apply. You could run this query. You could create queries. It has no log data found because it's a totally new setup here. There's no much data, but using this portal here, you could create a custom query language. It's a SQL-like language as well to fetch the data from your logs itself. So article, as I showed in the comparison, the query service is still not generally available. If you come here, you could just, if I type query, you want to find data, you will find documentation, and you will find documentation to query resources. But unlike Athena or KQL, the OCI query service is still not generally available. It should be available soon, but it's not there yet. So with this, we are at the end of the comparison for Big Data Analytics and AI/ML service. I hope you enjoyed the session. We're able to learn of the different service options that are available in each cloud, and you are able to use this in your enterprise applications or your individual applications as well. With this, please like, subscribe, share the channel, drop in a comment if any other thing you want clarification or if any other topic you are interested in. And have a good day, and God bless. Thank you.